Hello guys, this is Dark Fox Sage 2 and we are back with our new fanfic, which is What If Naruto Fell in Love with Grayfia Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and please subscribe to the channel. It motivates me to upload more fanfic like these for you all. Now let's start the fanfiction. Come on Gaki, you're gonna have to do better than that if you're gonna defeat me. Jiraiya taunted as he jumped to the side to evade Naruto's fist. Naruto jumped back and formed his signature cross sign with his fingers. Kage Bushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique, Naruto called out. Immediately 10 copies of himself popped into existence around him and quickly rushed his sensei. 8 of his clones quickly rushed Jiraiya, but Jiraiya brushed the clones off like they were nothing, punching through them as if he was punching thin air. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed as he almost covered his ears from the bell-like screech that was coming from behind him. Fuden. Rasen Shuriken, Wind Style. Spiraling Shuriken, Naruto yelled as he twisted his body and launched the projectile in his hand toward his sensei as the clone next to him popped out of existence, having done its job. Doden. Doryuheiki, Earth Style. Mud Wall, Jiraiya called out. He quickly jumped back and eyed the newly made wall of earth to see the damage of Naruto's completed Rasengan. As the shuriken made contact with the wall, it expanded, engulfing the newly made mound of earth and decimated the area in front of Jiraiya, which left a giant cadence-shaped crater on the floor. Jiraiya whistled at the damage the jutsu did. Nice shot Gaki. That jutsu is easily S rank, maybe even SS. Jiraiya praised, it's something even your father didn't manage to complete. Naruto grinned widely and puffed out his chest and said in a mocking tone, hey, my dad has nothing on me, Ero Sennin. I bet I could beat Madara and Obito a second time. Jiraiya was about to respond until he felt a soft body fall on top of him, knocking him to the ground with the mysterious figure on top of him. Jiraiya looked up from his daze and immediately noticed the woman's slender face and her exotic assets. As Jiraiya's gaze continued south from her chest, she sat up and gave him an icy look with her eyes. Jiraiya gave a perverted grin and said, why hello there miss, but before Jiraiya could finish she quickly punched him in the face, and because of their close proximity Jiraiya had no chance and was knocked out immediately. With Naruto moments earlier, Naruto watched completely shocked as a demonic-like portal appeared above his sensei and from the sky dropped a figure donning a blue and white French-made outfit. Still wondering where that portal came from, he heard Jiraiya try and flirt with the woman before he was knocked out from a point-blank punch to the face. Naruto winced as he heard a sickening crack as her fist connected with his cheek. He saw Jiraiya lay motionless on the floor with a punch mark on his right cheek, and he watched as the woman stood up and brushed herself off. Naruto honestly couldn't help himself as he stood there and stared as the woman tidied herself up. Naruto could finally see her entire form as she brushed the dirt off her clothes. She wore a form-fitting blue and white French-made outfit with the skirt extending a bit below her waist and wearing white stockings that extended all the way down to her gray-made shoes. Her clothes tried to hide her curvaceous body, but the only justice it did was accent her curves and show off her ample bust. Naruto looked at her face and immediately flinched at the cold glare that was directed at him, and he immediately backed up a few steps. Her face, like the rest of her body, was slender but beautifully so. Her skin was pale, but graceful. It accented the regal look of her face as if she was a queen that just graced the land. Her hair, which was a silky gray color, was divided into 2 braids of shoulder length going down her front, and the rest being divided into 2 more braids that flowed to her waist down her back. She also had a white-made headband that held her hair together and cold piercing silver eyes that looked back into his cerulean blue ones. Her red lips were formed in a thin line of astonishment as she spoke for the first time. Who are you? She demanded. Naruto, still stuck in his stupor, quickly shook his head and took a few steps forward to introduce himself to her. However, she took it the wrong way and immediately got in a fighting stance ready to engage him in combat. Naruto stopped moving and thought about what someone could actually do to him in a maid outfit before he tilted his head to the side and looked at the tree behind him, which was impaled by a spear of ice. Hyoten. Ice release, Naruto muttered to himself as he turned back to her and saw her form more spears of ice around her and launch them at Naruto. Oh shit. Naruto shouted as he jumped around trying to dodge all the spears heading toward him. He managed to dodge all the spears unscathed and looked around for the silver-haired maid once again. Naruto barely managed to block a punch to his abdomen as she quickly assaulted him from the front and sent Naruto skidding backwards. Naruto panted and was amazed at how much strength was behind the punch and thought who was stronger, her or Ba-chan. He quickly tried to form a plan to try and make the maid calm down. Wait, can you please calm down? I'm not gonna hurt you, can't we talk this out? Naruto pleaded with the maid. Her response was to materialize a sword in her hand and spoke calmly. I'm sorry, but you might be a threat to Sirzex-sama and must be eliminated. It was at this point that Kurama decided to wake up as she rushed him again from the front this time. Yo, kid, who's the babe? Kurama thought as he yawned loudly inside Naruto's mind. Naruto's sweat dropped at Kurama's calm attitude and created a few clones to keep the mysterious maid distracted as he shunshined to a tree to decide a plan of action. Kurama. That woman just appeared out of a portal and started attacking me after she knocked out Ero Sennin, Naruto thought loudly. The nine-tailed fox laughed loudly in his mind as Naruto explained at how his sensei got knocked out and after calming down asked. A portal, you say? Yeah. Like it just appeared right above Ero Sennin as we were sparring. Kurama pondered as he examined her for a few moments. Kid, I sense some kind of energy coming from her similar to mine. It's not Yukai, but it's definitely something similar, Kurama said. What the hell could be similar to Yukai? Naruto thought as he watched her decimate his clones. Kid, I recommend capturing her and taking her in for questioning. I have a hunch about the source of her energy. Easier said than done, Naruto complained. Naruto jumped down from his fighting spot and quickly went through a set of hand seals. Hopefully fire can easily burn through all of her ice jutsu. Well, if it's even jutsu, Naruto muttered to himself as he put his hands to his mouth. Kaden. Gokaku no Jutsu, Fire Style. Fireball Jutsu, Naruto called out as he sent a giant fireball toward the maid in front of him. She quickly conjured a wall of ice and sent it to intercept Naruto's fireball. The fireball impacted the wall and sent a thin layer of steam into the air and was stopped by the wall, but the wall quickly melted to the ground moments later. Naruto squinted his eyes as he tried to see where the silver-haired woman went, but was quickly knocked to the ground and surprised as she straddled him and held an ice dagger to his neck, pressing into it sharply. Naruto blushed at seeing the beautiful woman so close to him, and couldn't help but notice her large bust pressing on his chest, but his attention was quickly drawn back to her eyes as the dagger dug into his neck ever so slightly. His eyes widened as he saw two black wings being spread out behind her and couldn't help but curse because he didn't expect that she could fly. Any last words before I resurrect you as part of Sirzex-sama's peerage? She said with the same stoic tone. Again with that name, Sirzex, Naruto thought as he put that thought aside and grinned slightly, which made her narrow eyes and pushed the dagger deeper, drawing blood. Yeah, I do actually. Hirishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God Technique, Naruto said as he disappeared in a flash of yellow and appeared at the tree he was at earlier, mentally thanking himself that he marked the tree earlier. He had enough messing around though as he was irritated that he was getting pushed around by somebody in a maid outfit. Naruto closed his eyes for a moment and activated Sage Mode with his eyes tinting orange on the outside. He teleported again, this time on the mark he had put on the maid, and concentrated chakra into his right hand, but making sure it wasn't enough to kill her. Sage Art. Rasengan. Sage Art. Spiraling Sphere, Naruto called out as he thrusted his hand forward. The woman turned around and for the first time she showed expression on her face as her eyes widened and she quickly yelled. Makahadoma. A technique that freezes time and space for as long as the user wants or can hold the technique for. Grayfia Pav. Grayfia sighed to herself as she was almost hit by that last attack. She quickly stretched and was relieved that she still had her trump card in her back pocket. Makahadoma required an immense amount of her demonic power to use in a high affinity for ice like herself to freeze time and space. She examined the person that almost defeated her and found his face handsome along with the 3 whisker marks along both of his cheeks, but shook her head as she was a servant to Seer's ex Lucifer. This time she decided to not take any chances as she conjured ice spikes around her and sent them at the frozen Naruto. Back to third-person POV. Naruto coughed profusely as he felt the spikes of ice impale his body at multiple areas. He suspected that due to the demonic power that Kurama sensed inside her, she was able to damage him even while he was in sage mode. But Naruto widened his eyes in realization as he wiped the blood of his neck where he was cut earlier. Kurama, she possesses a space-time technique. Naruto thought loudly. You're right, Kit. It seems like it outclasses even Tsukuyomi in terms of genjutsu. She didn't even look you in the eye. Kurama's eyes narrowed. Naruto, I figured it out. Her technique allows her to freeze time and space and allow her to do anything while time is frozen. It truly is a fearsome technique. Obito's Mangekyo only allowed him to travel back and forth between this dimension and his own personal pocket dimension and even send things to and from there, but hers isn't even an ocular power. Kit, her control over the ice element is strong enough for her to freeze time. There's no way it's Hyoten, it's too strong to be called that. Kurama voiced. Naruto called upon Kurama's chakra and felt the ice melt and his wounds heal. His eyes narrowed and turned into slits with a blood-red color, and a chakra cloak with 2 tails appeared behind him. But like any other powerful jutsu, there's a limit. It seems the technique uses a lot of her power, Naruto thought as he observed her as she panted slightly from the aftermath of her technique. What are you? She asked, slightly scared that he survived direct hits from her ice. I'm a demon, Naruto said plainly, smiling to himself as he said that half-truth. Naruto quickly deduced that weakened attacks wouldn't harm the maid and decided to end the fight now. I'm done messing around, you chose the wrong person to attack, miss. The Naruto in front of her popped out of existence and her eyes widened as she recognized the technique when he used it earlier. Fuden. Rasenshuriken. Naruto yelled as he appeared above the silver-haired lady and threw his wind shuriken straight down. This time she couldn't fly and dodge the technique, so she decided to pull water from thin air and transform it into ice above her to mitigate the damage from the attack. As Naruto dropped back down to the floor, he only saw white as his technique collided with her sphere of ice point blank in front of her. As the area cleared, he saw her laying on the ground unconscious with her maid uniform torn in various places, but she only had minor bruises and cuts. Naruto sighed as he deactivated Sage Mode and let Kurama's chakra recede. Man, I need to work on throwing my Fuden. Rasenshuriken, it's way too slow if I'm not throwing it straight down, Naruto said to himself. Naruto's sweat dropped as he saw Jiraiya was still knocked out even after all the fighting that occurred and summoned a clone to pick him up while he picked up the silver-haired maid in Hiraishine to the hospital. Hours later in the interrogation department, Grayfia groaned slightly as she felt like she was hit by a truck and moved to brush the hair out of her eyes when she noticed that her hands were handcuffed and her legs were bound to the chair she was sitting on. She noticed her surroundings and saw she was sitting in the middle of a room with only a lamp in the middle and a table separating herself from the 3 figures sitting across from her. Well, looks like our old lady has finally woken up from her eternal slumber, Anko teased as she had been waiting for this moment for a while. Grayfia's face remained stoic, but she was inwardly irritated at being called old. Alright, I'll leave this to you, Anko. I'll be taking my leave, Hokage-sama. Ibiki said as he got up and left the room. Hi Ka-san. Anko mocked and grinned in a snake-like fashion as she noticed Ibuki's scar-clad eye twitch as he closed the door. Naruto decided to make his presence known and stood up, putting his hands on the table. So first and foremost, how about you tell us who you are? Naruto questioned, quickly turning on his Hokage mode. Grayfia quickly thought about escaping, but realized that right now she was in no condition to fight, much less escape. She decided to comply with their questions as she had no other choice. Grayfia Lucifuge, she said in a monotonous tone. Ha, Grayfia, it even matches the color of your hair, suiting for an old lady such as yourself, Anko teased as she laughed. Grayfia inwardly fumed at the nerve of the woman in front of her insulting not only her appearance, but her name as well. Anko quickly shunshined behind Grayfia and leaned forward, pressing her chest against her neck and draping both arms across Grayfia's front, groping her right breast with her left hand and caressing her cheek with her right, while licking her cheek with her tongue on the left side. Grayfia gasped, but quickly contained her astonishment as she kept the expressionless look on her face even as she was being felt up by the woman interrogating her. Anko continued her ministrations on her and spoke in a sultry voice. My, even an old lady such as yourself has such a fine body. If you tell us what we want, I'll make sure I won't torture you as much as I want to. Hokage-sama wouldn't want me to have too much fun. Naruto watched as Grayfia's face began turning red as she was now reacting to the feeling of having her body felt up. He wanted to stop Anko, as he felt this was going nowhere, but decided that she was an expert and let her do what she wanted without killing her, of course. Naruto sat down and squirmed a bit as his pants became tighter than usual. Anko licked her lips at the taste of such delicious skin, and moved both her hands to her chest, where she grabbed both of her mounds and squeezed them slowly, moving her face so she could hear every sound she made. Grayfia inhaled her breath sharply at the sudden sensation she felt on her chest, and even though she tried to resist and wiggle free from Anko's groping, it was futile as her body starting reacting and she suddenly felt the air get a little hotter. Such a beautiful chest you have here, as firm as my own, and even bigger. Anko trailed off as she pouted like a little girl and moved her left hand to her own chest and compared. Okay, I'll talk, just please, no more, Grayfia begged while looking away and at the floor. Anko smiled in a victorious fashion and stood up, discarding her trench coat so she only had on her mesh shirt and her usual skirt, and sat in Grayfia's lap. Don't worry Grayfia-chan, this is just to make sure no funny business occurs, K. Anko said as she trailed her finger down Grayfia's cheek. She twisted her head to side, releasing her face from Anko's grasp, and nodded her head ready for the questions. What are you and where did you come from? Naruto asked from his table as he stared at her ice-cold gray eyes intently. I am an ultimate class devil and I come from the underworld, serving under one of the four mouths Sirzex Lucifer-sama. Grayfia answered, meeting his gaze, but was quickly covered up by Anko's face being shoved into her field of vision. Devil, you say? What do you mean, devil? Anko questioned while adjusting herself to sit more comfortably on Grayfia's lap. Ignoring her movements, Grayfia responded, a devil is one of the beings that come from the underworld. We are ranked based on the power that we have, with low class being at the bottom and ultimate class being at the very top. Do you know why you're here or how you get here? Naruto pressed. Not really. All I know was that I was standing behind Sirach's-sama while he was doing work in his office, and suddenly a portal appearing in the room and I shoved Sirzex toward the door and only I was the one that was sucked up, she responded stoically. Who is this Sirach's person that you keep mentioning and why do you address him as Sama? Naruto questioned. Grayfia sighed verbally and after a good hour or two explained them the story with the Four Mouths, the old Satan faction, and how the Four Mouths were in charge of everything in the underworld while God was the leader of heaven. She also explained in detail who each of the Four Mouths are: Sirzex Lucifer, Seraphal Leviathan, Ajuka Beelzebub, and Falbium Asmodeus. She also described about how she once challenged Seraphal Leviathan for the title of Leviathan, but lost, which shocked Naruto the most because of how powerful he thought she was, which would make this Seraphal even stronger than Grayfia. And lastly, she explained how the story of her being married to Sirzex was a ruse to hide the fact that Sirzex's true wife was actually mortal and someone he met in the human plane on Earth. And so I guess you probably want to go back to the underworld, right? Naruto questioned as he was still a bit confused on the story she just told both him and Anko. Yes, I would very much like that, she answered with a hint of emotion in her voice. Well, that's too bad. Gray-chan, Anko answered bubbly. Naruto here is one of the strongest beings that exists in this dimension, and while he can defeat god-like beings and develop multiple space-time techniques, I think crossing dimensions is something that even he can't do. Naruto nodded his head in response. Yeah, sorry, but if I could send you back then I would, but for now I think you need to just move on. Grayfia nodded her head slowly, still not believing that she couldn't go back and was now stuck here in this dimension. I see. I'm sorry for attacking you earlier, Naruto-sama. I instantly assumed you were a threat when I couldn't sense any demonic energy like the devils in my dimension had, but you had a different, much eviler kind of energy, Grayfia apologized. Naruto-sama, Naruto, Anko, and Kurama thought simultaneously. Anko got off Grayfia and donned her coat and released the bindings on her arms and legs. Alright Gray-chan, you're free to go, but you're stuck here in the village and will be on probation for the next 3 months. Naruto stood up, told Grayfia that she would be staying in one of the rooms in the Namikaze mansion and watched her leave the room. Naruto then quickly called 2 Anbu who appeared in the room and told them to trail Grayfia to make sure that she didn't get into any trouble or try and desert the village right away. They nodded their heads and shunshined away. Naruto sighed and sank into his hair, playing with his father's cloak that he had on, and tilted his head backward and stretched his arms. Nay Anko, you think that she'll be alright? Losing everyone she knew in the matter of a day isn't something that anyone should be able to handle. Naruto asked. Anko smiled sadly. She's a strong one, I'm sure she'll be alright. Anko's smile turned more mischievous as she whispered in Naruto's ear. Nay Gaki, you already asking her to stay with you. What's next, you're gonna bed her tonight? Naruto's face flushed a little, but he denied it quickly. What? Come on Anko, we literally just met today. Sure you did, but I saw the way you were looking at her, you saw something you like for sure. And besides, it's about time you get a girlfriend, Hokage-sama. Anko teased. Naruto sighed and dismissed Anko while getting up and going back to his office in the Hokage Tower. He said a friendly hello to his secretary and walked into the office, conjuring a few clones and ordering them to start on his mountain of paperwork while he went out to go get some dinner. Naruto walked down the street wearing his father's cloak with the red flames on the bottom and a picture of Kurama etched into his back as he waved hello to the villagers. After defeating both Madara and Obito, the world became a much better place than it was before. All the ninja nations decided that a permanent alliance was the best solution to prevent any more attacks from a madman trying to take over the world, so at the moment the ninja world was in a time of peace. It amazed Naruto to see the villagers treat him like a hero when he returned, and he won the vote for Hokage unanimously from the Shinobi and Civilian Council, especially with Danzo gone and Root disbanded. He walked into Ichiraku's and smiled at Ayame as she waved excitedly at seeing her favorite customer. Naruto-kun, so nice to see you. Will you be having the usual? Yeah Ayame-chan, 10 bowls of miso ramen with extra pork as a starter, Naruto replied, grinning. Naruto took a seat and considered telling them about Grayfia as the covers opened and in walked 2 of his oldest friends, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Sasuke was wearing his signature black Uchiha shirt with the collar pulled up and white shorts to top off his look with his hair in his infamous duck ass style. Sakura, while clinging onto Sasuke's right arm, waved at Naruto and was wearing her red dress in casual clothing like she always wore. Sasuke sat on Naruto's right while Sakura sat on Sasuke's right and greeted him. Naruto, good to see you. Nice seeing you here, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled. Hey guys, fancy seeing you here. Tsuki came back with a rolling table that contained 10 bowls of steaming hot ramen and began placing them in front of Naruto. Here you go Gaki, and Sasuke-san, Sakura-san, can I take your orders as well? 1 miso ramen, 1 vegetable ramen, they replied. Once their orders arrived, they sat there and began making small talk while Ayame and Tsuki joined in on the conversation as well. Say Naruto, I heard about the incident this morning, Mind telling us about what happened? Sasuke asked. Yeah, I heard you got attacked while training with Jiraiya, Sakura added. Yeah, it's something like that, haha. Naruto laughed as he slurped up his ramen and began telling the story. He told the four of them basically what happened today, and they were surprised at how Grayfia was from a different dimension and how she survived one of his Rasenshrikan's head on, albeit using her abilities to mitigate the damage. He could tell from the expression on Sasuke's face that her space-time technique interested him the most, and he was shocked to hear that even Naruto can get caught off guard by her, Makahadoma, because Naruto was immune to even Sasuke's Tsukuyomi from his M's. Tsuki laughed at the part where Jiraiya didn't even get to fight and got one-hitted from the maid herself. Ayame was amazed at how beautiful she seemed to sound like and was hoping she could ask her for tips on how to look better. Sakura wanted to know what the secret to her strength was because Naruto made it sound like she was on par with her and Tsunade's super strength. Suddenly the air seemed to get much colder outside, and the four of them turned to see Jiraiya walk in with Grayfia right behind him, a fan in her right hand. She had a stern expression on her face while she glared at Jiraiya, and he had a sheepish expression on his face. Hey Gaki, how are you doing? Jiraiya asked as he sat to Naruto's left and put an arm around his shoulder. Good, thanks Ero Sennin, Naruto replied as he stared at Grayfia for a moment before turning back to his sensei. Jiraiya leaned back and in a perverted grin asked, So Naruto, I was hoping you could convince Grayfia here to help me out with my research. But before Naruto could answer, he heard his sensei yell in pain as Grayfia smacked him in the head with her fan. Jiraiya-sama, somebody of your stature shouldn't be talking about women in such a degenerate form, she scolded. Naruto and Sasuke both sweat dropped at the event just occurred in front of their eyes, and Tsuki was laughing at the great Sannin being scolded like a little boy, and Ayame was staring at Grayfia still awed by her beauty when she walked in, and Sakura stared at Grayfia's back with an unreadable expression and wondered if she was stronger than either herself or Tsunade, because from the outside it didn't look like she was. He watched as his sensei got down on his knees in a seiza position and began apologizing to Grayfia. Gomenasai, Grayfia-sama, it's just that your body is so perfect, Jiraiya pleaded, but then was smacked again by Grayfia in the same spot. Naruto ignored the actions of his sensei and decided to finish his food before he had to back to the Hokage tower. Just as Naruto was about to put the noodles in his mouth, his hand holding the chopstick was frozen in place. He shivered a bit at the coldness he felt and inhaled sharply when Grayfia placed a slender hand on his left shoulder. Naruto wasn't used to intimate gestures like this, and especially the one on the battlefield earlier today. He turned his head to the left and was met with the stare of her cold gray eyes. Naruto-sama, I really advise against someone of your stature eating such a low-class food. Grayfia said with a stern expression, her other hand gripping the fan she used to smack Jiraiya. Naruto met her eyes head-on, but quickly turned away, noticing the intensity in them, and he stood up, which caused Grayfia to release the ice holding his hand. Right, Sasuke, Sakura, Ero Sennin, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Naruto said. He walked away toward the Namikaze mansion and waved by at Ayame and Tsuki one more time, with Grayfia trailing closely behind on Naruto's right. Jiraiya watched the scene with the rest of Team 7 and grinned slightly. Looks like things just got a lot more interesting around here. In Namikaze mansion living room, Naruto sighed as he sat down, running his hands through his hair as he clapped his hands to turn on the light in the living room. Grayfia-san, can I talk to you for a bit? Naruto asked as he gestured to a chair in front of him. Hi Naruto-sama, but I prefer to stand right here, Grayfia responded as she stood to Naruto's right as he was sitting. Naruto sighed for the second time and stood up, crossing his arms as he addressed Grayfia directly. Look Grayfia, I really appreciate that you're sorry for attacking me earlier, but you don't need to follow me around like my dog. Naruto stated, and he inwardly took a step back at the narrowing of Grayfia's eyes. I am a maid, Naruto-sama, and a maid's job is to make sure her master is well, Grayfia stated. Master, how come I'm your master now? What happened to that Searsex guy? Naruto asked, confused. I have to deal with the fact that I am here now for who knows how long, so I decided to just resume my role as a maid like in my original dimension, Grayfia responded. With a sigh, Naruto stood up and directed Grayfia to her room. It was directly across from his and was the same size, and was hardly used. Naruto bid Grayfia good night and she responded in kind with a curtsy, and he closed the door to his own room. As Naruto showered and prepared for bed, he decided to talk to Kurama about what to do. Hey Fox, so what do you think of Grayfia so far? Naruto asked in his mind. She seems alright disregarding the fact she tried killing you this morning, Kurama responded. I feel like she's that shade of color that's missing from your palette, Kit. What do you mean? Naruto asked his lifelong partner, confused. Irritated, Kurama responded. I mean that I think she will make your life much more interesting than it already is. It's pretty boring right now, Kit, especially after the Akatsuki was defeated. Yeah, that's true, Naruto responded. He laid in bed for a few minutes before the picture of Grayfia's popped in his mind again, like when he met her in combat earlier this morning and was lulled to sleep. The next day. Wake up, Naruto-kun, Grayfia's stern voice called out. Naruto groaned as he opened his eyes from his bed and saw that Grayfia was already awake and ready with her signature maid outfit, hairstyle, and red lipstick, waiting by his bedside with his father's cloak, pants, underwear, and towel in hand. Naruto blushed slightly as she waved his underwear in front of him in a hurry up kind of fashion. Please, Grayfia, at least knock before entering my room, Naruto sighed tiredly. She narrowed her eyes at him. Do you want me to wash you? Naruto shivered slightly, but felt his face heat up at what she insinuated. Naruto quickly thought about seeing her naked and washing his body, but it was quickly extinguished as he noticed the look in her eyes. No gomenasai, Naruto whimpered. Naruto gratefully took his clothes from Grayfia and took a quick shower while donning his clothes. He closed the door to the mansion and was slightly scared to see Grayfia standing outside the door with her hands clasped together in front of her, waiting for him with that same stoic expression on her face. The villagers giggled in their hands while looking at the Hokage being critiqued by a maid on how he walked, talked, and acted. Naruto-sama, keep your back straight. Naruto-sama, your hair is untidy. Naruto-sama, your fly is undone. What the hell? Why are you even looking there? Naruto asked, exasperated as he fixed his pants. It is my job as a maid, Grayfia said in a monotone. How much am I even paying you? Naruto questioned. Grayfia ignored his question and continued trailing behind Naruto, albeit a bit closer this time. Naruto finally reached his office and waved to his secretary while he entered his office, and Grayfia closed the door behind him. Naruto summoned 2 clones and was about to order them to start on the mountain of paperwork, but he flinched as he felt them dispel immediately as Grayfia held her infamous fan in her right hand. Naruto-sama, you shouldn't just let clones do the work for you. A leader of a village should be the prime example for the younger generation. Grayfia scolded. Naruto looked at her with a, "Are you serious?" expression on her face, but he looked away as she looked at him with a stern expression. Naruto sighed loudly and began to do the paperwork by hand while Grayfia stood behind him. Naruto swore he could hear the Anbu hiding in the ceiling snickering at their Hokage being ordered around by Grayfia, and he decided whether or not he should punish them. 3 hours later, Naruto groaned as he stretched his back after he finally finished the paperwork for today. He felt Grayfia place her hands on his shoulder and rub them slowly, while his began to turn red. Wah! What are you doing? Naruto asked timidly, but groaning in appreciation as she continued massaging him. As a maid, it is my job to make sure my master is comfortable and happy, Grayfia lectured as she continued using her hands. Naruto sighed his thanks and let her massage him for a few moments before he asked her if she was okay after the events that occurred the day before. Grayfia-san, are you sure you're okay after yesterday? Naruto questioned slowly, not sure if she was okay about talking about this or not. Yes, I am. I understood that I can't really do anything about it, so I decided to repay you as an apology for attacking you earlier. I'll serve as your maid for as long as you would like me to. Grayfia answered. Naruto smiled and said a thanks while telling her she could have the weekends off and serve him on the weekdays while letting her do whatever she wanted on the weekends. Again, Naruto didn't really need her help at all, but decided to give her a schedule based on her no-nonsense attitude. A month later, Naruto was in one of Konoha's bars at night, drinking a bit with Sasuke as they talked for a bit. Naruto took a sip of his sake and asked Sasuke how he and Sakura were doing. Hey Sasuke, how are you and Sakura holding up? It's going well, she's gotten a lot clingier as of late, as if she wasn't clingy already, Sasuke said as he took a sip of his sake as well. Sasuke let a small grin cross his face as he asked Naruto how he was with his maid. Naruto turned away a bit embarrassed and said that they were doing fine. So do you have a crush on Grayfia? Sasuke pressed. I don't know, I guess, Naruto said unsure. She's really nice when she isn't scolding me, it's like she really cares for me and I've never felt that before outside of our team, Ero Sennin, and Ba-chan. I think it's about time you get a girlfriend, Naruto, you should really tell her that you're interested in her, Sasuke said. Sigh. I don't know, I'm kinda nervous that she'll say no and our relationship over the past month will just get thrown out the window, Naruto spoke. My advice would be to just go for it, Naruto, regardless of the outcome. Just go at it like you do every opponent, with the attitude of never giving up. Sasuke said as he stood up. Well, I gotta get home, Sakura will skin me if I don't. Good luck, Naruto. Naruto waved as Sasuke left, and he downed his bottle of sake, while asking for another one to take home. Naruto, not feeling like walking home, hurried to the marker on his front door and quickly entered his home. Grayfia-san, I'm home. Naruto called out as he sat down in one of the comfy chairs while twiddling his thumbs nervously. Naruto knew Grayfia really hated it when he didn't make his presence known when entering the house when she wasn't with him. She said this was her one condition in accordance with letting him go out at night without her whenever he was invited by one of his friends. And in response, Naruto said that she had to eat with him and sit down when he told her to, instead of just standing up all the time. Welcome home, Naruto-sama, Grayfia called out as she sat down across from Naruto. Grayfia, can I ask you something? Naruto asked nervously. Noticing the drop in the suffix of her name, Grayfia gazed at him intently. About what? Naruto-sama, Grayfia asked as she picked up the bottle Naruto brought home and took a sip while putting it down. Grayfia, do you like me as a person? Naruto said slowly. Yes, I believe you did a wonderful job in bringing peace to this world, even if it was through needless violence, and you're really kind to the people of your village. Grayfia answered, looking at him curiously. Then do you, Grayfia? Grayfia, Naruto asked worriedly as he noticed her breathing get a lot faster. Ha, Naruto-sama, what was in that bottle? Grayfia whispered. It's just sake. Naruto answered, confused. Grayfia placed her right hand on her heart as she felt in speed up and her face began to flush, making it easily visible on her pale skin. Her eyes glazed over as her heart rate calmed and down and her rosy red lips suddenly curled into a seductive smile completely different than the thin line her lips are usually in. Naruto watched as she took off the headband that held her hair together and she let some of her silver hair flow down her back as she stood up. It took Naruto a few moments to realize what happened before his eyes widened in shock. Holy shit, is she drunk after taking one sip of sake? Naruto asked more to himself than to Kurama. Kurama's laugh thundered in Naruto's head. This is priceless, Kit. What do you think she's going to do, rape you? Kurama called out. Before Naruto could respond, Grayfia appeared in front of Naruto and immediately sat down on his lap. She trailed a slender finger down his cheek before it reached his chest, and she still had that unsettling smile on her face. He shivered a bit as he felt her finger run down his body, still not used to the intimacy that he was experiencing right now. Naruto-sama, you've been a bad boy today, haven't you? Grayfia teased. Holy hell, she's the complete polar opposite of what she was before, Naruto exclaimed. Kurama's response was to just laugh even louder. Grayfia placed a kiss on his mouth and separated before he could respond, and she licked her lips in a cat-like fashion. You know, I've always wanted to do this, even especially after the first time I met you. But, I guess right now we'll have to do. Grayfia whispered as her hands trailed south. Naruto groaned as he felt her lock her legs around his, pinning him to the chair, and he wondered if he should let her continue, or tell her to stop because she wasn't in the right state of mind. He watched as she leaned back and picked up the bottle of sake and took a few gulps, and he wondered if more sake was even good. Naruto quickly shunshined out of her grasp and took a few steps backwards. Grayfia, I think maybe you should go to bed right now. I'll tell you what I was going to say tomorrow when you're in the right state of mind. Naruto trailed off as he watched her carefully. She stood up and smiled, while she brushed off her maid uniform, trying to remove the crinkles. In the next moment, Naruto felt the temperature in the room drop 10 degrees as he could see his breath as he inhaled sharply. I don't think you understand, Naruto-sama, Grayfia said in a sultry-like fashion. I want you now. And it was after this phrase Grayfia lunged at him. Naruto jumped to the side, leaving the table between him and Grayfia. She giggled, and he's never seen her giggle before. She quickly froze the table in front of her and shattered it with another spear of ice that she sent at it. And she made her advance by walking toward him sensually. Naruto's sweat dropped as he realized was going to be turned into a war zone if he didn't do something right now to stop her. He was about to grab her and teleport her to somewhere else, but she said one word and everything turned black. Makahodoma. 10 minutes later, Naruto groaned slightly as he opened his eyes and noticed that he was in his bedroom. He also noticed that he was chained to his bed with bindings on his arms and legs. He watched as Grayfia appeared from the side and still had that glazed look in her eyes and quickly straddled Naruto. I'm sorry I had to use that technique on you, Naruto-sama, but I can't let this opportunity slip through my fingers, Grayfia whispered out. She trailed her hands down Naruto's muscular stomach toward the hem of his pants, and Grayfia giggled as she opened them and gently pulled the zipper down. Just as she was about to claim her prize, her eyes suddenly returned to their normal gray hue and she leaned back, wondering what just happened. It was at this moment that Naruto took the opportunity to escape and quickly jumped up, knocking Grayfia to the ground and escaping the room, while quickly taking refuge in a guest room and slamming the door shut. Naruto leaned his back against the door and took a deep breath before speaking to Kurama. What the hell, Fox? Why did you choose not to help me in that entire escapade? Naruto mentally yelled. Because it amuses me that you resist the woman you love just as she is offering herself to you, Kurama responded, not even flinching at Naruto's voice. It wasn't even right. She wasn't in the right state of mind. And could you imagine the consequences, once Grayfia sobers up after we had sex? She would beat the shit out of me. Naruto roared. Whatever, Kit, and besides I sense her behind the door. Kurama responded before he went back to his nap. Naruto-sama, is it alright if I can come in? Grayfia asked in a quiet tone from the other side of the door. Naruto chose not to respond and decided to let Grayfia do the explaining to him. He opened the door and took a seat on the bed as he watched Grayfia walk in. He noticed that she straightened out her maid outfit a bit, and also had the headband back at its proper place on her head. Naruto-sama, about my actions earlier, Grayfia started. Grayfia, it's alright, I completely understand, I wasn't aware that alcohol could affect you that badly. Naruto said. As a devil, I'm immune to most things, some of them being age and diseases. But unfortunately, unlike other devils, my alcohol tolerance is non-existent. Grayfia answered with the same stern expression she had before. I remember everything that transpired after I was intoxicated, but first I would like to know what you were going to tell me before I drank the sake, Grayfia continued. Naruto's face turned a tad shade of red. I feel it's best that right now is not the time to talk about it, maybe some other time, Grayfia. No, I think it's best you tell me right now, Grayfia said sternly as she stepped forward. Like minutes before, she straddled Naruto's lap and removed the headband on her head, placing it on the bed. The only difference with this position from before was that Grayfia still had her serious expression on her face. Grayfia, Naruto whispered as he leaned his face back a bit to give him a bit of breathing room. I know you like me, Naruto-kun, Grayfia said softly. She watched as Naruto's face curled into a small smile at the kun suffix. And I just wanted to let you know that you've been the kindest to me ever since I arrived. And never questioned or complained whenever I followed you around, albeit only when I scolded you, Grayfia said quietly. She then whispered, I like you too. Grayfia pressed her lips to Naruto's in a soft kiss as she pressed her ample chest into his. They kissed for a few moments before they broke apart. Grayfia leaned back in to get one more kiss, but Naruto placed a finger on her lips, stopping her. Naruto, ignoring the angry expression on her face, gently pushed her off him and stood up, enveloping her in a hug. She sighed contentedly and placed her chin on his shoulder and wrapped her arms around his waist. We're not supposed to kiss before the first date, Grayfia-chan, Naruto chided. I know, but as your mate I felt it would make you happy if we did, Grayfia answered. I promise I'll take you out tomorrow. Okay. Where to? Ichiraku's. No. What? Why not? Because it's unhealthy, Naruto-sama. Oh, so now that I mention ramen it's sama again. Shut up. So ramen. No. Ah.